And Marilyn and the next person we'll talk about in a second are both running for something that sound very similar. So we're going to start by letting her explain the difference between what she's running for and what Tanisha's running for. So.
Good evening, everyone. I am Marilyn Burgess. I am your incumbent Harris County District Clerk. And as Jaime was saying, that it's different from the county clerk, and I'm going to let Tanisha tell you what the county clerk does, but I'll tell you what the district clerk does. I am basically the business administrator over 90 Harris County courts. That includes our civil district courts, our family courts, our juvenile courts, our child support courts, and both the misdemeanor and felony criminal courts. So anytime an attorney files a case for a new case, it's done with my office. We assign it to a court. We give it a case number, and we're also in the courtroom to record everything that goes on in regards to that case. We are the custodian of record for all of those courts in Harris County. That's a Texas constitutional role that I hold.
Okay, so, and full disclosure, Marilyn and I have known each other for several years now. So let me ask you this.
Jaime saw me on my first attempt when I was really, really green.
We phone banked from her house. And,
it was sad. It was sad.
That's how politics works. You work your way in, and she's been elected. She's done an excellent job for the last 4 years, getting ready to get reelected. But let's let the folks here learn a little bit about you. So tell us about your time with the PTA.
All right. It's kind of where I got my start in politics, or not really politics, but as a public servant. I was, by education, I'm a CPA, and I practiced as a CPA for about 25 years. And one of my clients was the Texas PTA, the Parent Teacher Association in Austin, Texas. And I did their accounting work for about 10 years, and then they asked me to become their executive director. So I closed down my accounting practice. I moved in as the employee of the Texas PTA and held that role for about 4 years. Got very involved in lobbying the state legislature. And did things like working against vouchers, where public money going to private schools, CHIPS, health insurance for children, graduated driver's licensing, a lot of topics like that, school teacher pay, and got very passionate about it. And the first time I stood next to then Governor George W. Bush and watched him sign into law a piece of legislation that I had crafted the language on, I had the bug. I was stuck with it from then on. And so after my daughter graduated from high school, I was an empty nester, and I'm like, I need to shake up my life a little bit. I'm in a rut here. And so I decided I wanted to do something different. And that's when I came to Houston and took a job as the president of the North Houston Greens Point Chamber of Commerce.
So you've had experience, and by the way, Marilyn was a Kingwood resident for a long time, so she's one of us. And now at the county level, I know that it's judicial really that you're doing, but it's a 4-year term, right?
Yes.
And when you do that, how often, you can't really talk about issues. Are you limited in that way? Can you talk about issues or not? Because it kind of deals with judicial. It's a quasi-judicial.
I can talk about issues all I want, unfortunately. And I'm very passionate about issues. Women's rights, education, those are the top priority issues that I'm very passionate about. Gun control issues, very passionate about. But my office has nothing to do with it. There's nothing I can do in my role as district clerk to impact legislation or impact rules or anything like that. But I can talk about it all day, and I'll get on a soapbox.
And she will. And she's on the right side of all these issues, so we know that. But so then the question is, your campaign, how's it doing? How do we get involved? How does this work? Because this is a countywide deal.
It is a countywide race.
Kind of nonpartisan, even though it's partisan.
It's very non-political,
okay.
But it is a partisan race. So I am running against the Republican nominee. The Republican nominee happens to be the man that I defeated in 2018 for this position. He didn't like it. He liked his nice, cush government job where he was very unaccountable for what he did, and he did very little. So in 2020, he decided to run for another one. So he ran against Ann Bennett for tax assessor, and she defeated him. So now he's coming back and trying again to recapture the district clerk's office. And so I'm determined, with your help, to make him a 3-time loser.
Your campaign, though, how do we get involved? Do you have a Facebook presence or online presence?
I do have a Facebook presence. I have Instagram, and Twitter, thank you. And they're all, my webpage is MarilynBurgess.com, pretty easy to remember. My Facebook and Twitter and Instagram are all vote for, with the number 4, Burgess. And what you can do to help me right now, what we're working on is trying to get signs out. I've got yard signs here. Please take them, particularly if you have a high-profile street where people see it, or you're across from the school or something like that. That's really important to get them in those locations. I also have a lot of 4 feet signs that if you have a place where you could put one of those, or they're easy to do if you can put them on a fence, whether it be a wrought iron fence or a chain link fence. You can do it with zip ties. If it's on a wood fence, you can use a staple gun and put them up. They're real easy to put up. If they have to be on stakes, it's a little more difficult, and there are some places where you have to use stakes. But I'm looking for help in getting those out. I've got a lot of them. If you've got any place where you could put one, that would be great. I'll get you the sign. If you can't, but you know a good location where it should go, if you'll just email me. I've got cards over here. My email address is on them. And give me suggestions about, a sign would look great here. There's a place there to put it up, and we'll get them out there.
And I know you've had some fun fundraising events even recently. Do you have any more planned between now and November, or are you still working on some?
We have one planned for October 13th. It's a reverse Halloween party one. We're going to do it at Midtown Grill down right outside of downtown. We're encouraging people to wear their Halloween costumes, and we're going to make it a big fun evening. I like to make these events fun, not stuffy. And so we did one that was a 70s theme, and we had 70s music and people dressed up in 70s costume. We did a birthday one. So, we like to make them fun.
So you're an average, everyday politician, basically.
No, public service.
Okay, so you're doing all this now. Are you going to be there Saturday night at the JRR?
I will be there Saturday night at JRR. Hope to see you all there.
Tell them a little bit about that event, because I know you've been a few times.
Yes.
What is this event like?
The JRR stands for Johnson, Rayburn, and Richardson, 3 major Democrats in Texas. And so that's the major fundraising event that's held every year by the Harris County Democratic Party. And they raise money to get out the vote, and that's primarily what they do with the money that comes from this event is phone banking, push cards, mailers, that sort of thing to turn out the vote. They don't do anything for a particular candidate. They're not going to, they'll do a one-page thing that has all the candidates listed, but they're not going to do anything for me as an individual candidate. They're just pushing for turning out the Democratic vote. And the big thing about that, which everybody needs to remember, is we don't have to go convince Republicans to vote on our side. We just have to get all of our Democratic people to go vote, and that's enough to win. And Harris County is so critical in delivering a statewide elected official. We haven't had one since Ann Richards over 25 years ago. We've got the numbers, and if Harris County will turn out bigger and harder than it ever has before, we can push them over the top. We can elect Beto. We can elect Mike Collins. We can elect Michelle Bowden.
That's why I wanted you to bring it up, because the county party really does push the county-wide candidates, and this is a great way to support these county-wide candidates. And so, are there any final parting words you want to give us?
I'd like to say one thing. I am running on my record. I've been there a little over 3.5 years now. I feel like we have done a lot to increase the efficiency, the transparency, the fiduciary responsibility of that office, and made a lot of improvements. We've worked hard to introduce technology to make the office more of a paperless environment, which increases the accuracy and efficiency and timeliness of the reporting that we're charged with doing, but there's still a lot more that I want to do. I have people in my office who've worked there for 25, 30, 35 years, and they will tell me over and over that I am the hardest working district clerk they've ever worked for, and they've worked for like 7 or 8 of them. I am a very hands-on leader. I am there every day at the table working hard, and that is not what my predecessor did. I think you as a taxpayer ought to hold your elected officials accountable to do the work that you're electing them to do, and I can promise you I'll do that.
And I can tell you, before you clap for that, I can tell you one of the ways that you know she's doing something right is because within the first year of her being in office, there was a lot of grumbling from people who needed to be out for a long time before, and she was cleaning house. So, this is the kind of person you want in these types of offices. And so, anyway, thank you very much.
your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, your hairdresser, your dog groomer, everybody. Take them with you, keep them in your purse, your back pocket, and hand them out to people as you meet them and say, I met her, she's great, you need to go vote for her. Thank you.